Hello, hello, everyone. I am so excited to be live with you again. If you don't know, some of you may actually have no idea. I am just returned back just last week from a 6-week sabbatical. So first time that I've done something like that. Started this business in 2015 and have been chugging right along for years and years. And so today I'm going to give you a peek into what the last 6 weeks have been like, why I took those 6 weeks off, and just even if you're not able to take a 6-week sabbatical, some of the things that I learned throughout this time are totally things that you guys could be implementing even right now. Whether you do have an upcoming vacation coming off, you're going to be taking 1 or 2 weeks off in your business, or whether you just want to design a business that you actually can take a break from, right? So that's what we're going to be chatting about today. I am so excited. It feels good to be back. I don't know if you guys have ever taken a vacation, whether it's from your VA business or from, just your 9 to 5. If it's a job that you actually like, then there's something really rewarding about coming back. And I will tell you this, man, it feels good to be back. I have missed you guys jumping back in and hearing, the testimonials, the things that have happened in your businesses. There are wins being posted every single day, especially inside of our, Savvy System, Savvy Vault, Savvy Circle communities, but also in our large VA Savvies group. You guys are out there kicking butt, taking names, and just doing this thing. And man, what a joy to be a part of this, to be a part of a community who truly um who's out there doing the thing. So it's a privilege to hang out with you. And so I'm just really, really excited. So let me know what's been going on in your world. I would love for you to post a win below in the comments. Before we jump in, again, I'm going to be diving into why I took the 6 weeks off, how I did it, some things that you guys can start doing to build a business on how you can actually, a business you can take a break from, right? And how that is actually good and healthy for you to do so. But I want to hear a big win that you've had, maybe in the last month or two, while I've been out. Catch me up, people. What's been going on in your life, in your business? Have you had a big win? And that could be, hey, I signed a new client. It could be, I did this big scary thing. I purchased the Savvy system. I have been I finally announced my business. I went to a networking meeting. I signed or I sent a proposal to a big client. I'm waiting to hear back. Let me know in the comments some of the wins that you guys have been having, because I love to celebrate with you all. So before I jump in, I have one more quick announcement that I wanted to let you know about. We have an awesome 3-day series happening next week. It's totally free. It's our 6-figure VA series. So I'll put the link up here. If you haven't already registered, make sure that you go and register for this series, because it's going to be so, so good. We're going to be diving into, again, how to build a lot of bit of what we're going to be talking about a little bit today, but how to build a sustainable business model that not only allows you to hit those, 6-figure years, 10K plus months, right? How to do so profitably, and how to do so in a way that doesn't mean more hustle for you. Because here's the thing, the journey to 6 figures doesn't necessarily have to mean just more hustle. It doesn't mean you have to work harder. It just means you have to work smarter, right? And so that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking, it's a 3-day series. So the first day, we're going to be talking about how to create an irresistible offer that clients actually want, that you can charge high profits for. Number 2, we're going to be talking about viral visibility, cultivated team growth, how you can actually build a team to help you, support you in growing your business. And the third day is all about operations. So talking about efficient internal systems, forecasting for your business, metrics, numbers. Every number tells a story in your business, and we're going to be diving into the numbers you need to be keeping track of in order to grow a 6-figure VA business. So if you haven't already signed up for this, again, you've got to do so. thevirtualsavvy.com/6-figure-VA. It's going to be so good. If you guys already signed up, let me know in the comments. All right. So let's dive in to what we're going to be talking about today, which again is just kind of the ins and outs of why I took a sabbatical, what that meant. It does feel so, so good to be back. So, there's a couple of things. It was actually in the fall, and I think that this is really good for people to know too. Like, this isn't something that I just did at the drop of the hat. It did take some planning, right? And so, it was last fall when I went up to actually myself and Melissa, who is the amazing COO of the company, integrator. If you guys have ever read the book Rocket Fuel, it talks about the difference between a visionary and an integrator. And Melissa is such an amazing integrator for me, and just is brilliant. So the two of us went up to Minnesota for some kind of planning, strategy, coaching with some mentors. And the first thing that came out basically in, I don't know, the first 30 minutes of us talking with those mentors is it was like, Abby, you're burnt out. Like you're tired. And one of the biggest things that they mentioned to me is like when a visionary doesn't have vision, like that's when there's a problem. And so, and I knew it, 2022 was a really, really rough year for us outside of business, my husband lost his father, so we had a passing in the family. We had a lawsuit, which was like this crazy like RV thing that happened in 2020 that we were in a lawsuit over, and it was just finally coming to a head. My husband had a heart attack. I don't know if you guys know about that. Like, we just had thing after thing after thing. We had about a COVID. We had my husband threw his back out for like 2 weeks and was like literally laying on the floor for like 2 weeks. Like, there was just thing after thing after thing. And I don't know if you guys, if anybody has have a year like that, like I would go back and have 2020 again to not have 2022. And so we got to the end of the year and we were just tired. And personally, I was exhausted and just really was having trouble finding vision for the business. And it was told to me by my mentors, like, I think you need just a break. Like, I think you need an actual break. And so we started making plans for me to take an actual sabbatical, and went back and forth on how much time. And because it was going to go over spring break, I was like, spring break's not going to really feel like much of a break because my kids are home and we were going to Virginia to help family. And so I was like, I think I'm going to take 6 weeks. And so 6 weeks ended up being the amount of time that we took off, and so that I took off personally. And so a couple things went into that. Number one, and one of the things that I took away from this, that again, no matter where you're at in your business, these are things that you can start implementing right now. Okay, because I know, again, I've been doing this since 2015. Not everyone can take a 6 week sabbatical, and I understand that. I don't know if up until this year if I could have even done it, right? And so this is not like necessarily a how to take a 6 week sabbatical chat, but how to create margin in your business, how to create space so that you can take an actual vacation, right? Even if it's 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever. So the biggest thing that I learned during this time, and what I took away that I'm going to continue to do, is that a visionary is realizing how vital it is for a visionary to have white space. Oh my goodness. Like, if you don't know what white space is, essentially it is like, imagine a blank piece of paper. And if you're a visionary, if you are like a natural born visionary, a person who just sees ideas, entrepreneur mindset, like, ooh, what about this? What about this? A blank piece of paper is probably one of the most exciting things to like, I have a whiteboard here in my office, which, by the way, you're going to see this office transform in the next couple months, weeks. I would say weeks, but let's be realistic, it'll probably be months. I have a new office upstairs above my above our garage. We have this office space that used to be a guest bedroom. We're turning it into an office, and so I'm excited to show you guys the transformation as I dive into it. But so a white space is but I have a whiteboard in this office. That's where I was going with this. And that's one of the most exciting things. And the thing is that if you don't give yourself space to create, if you don't give yourself your space to be a visionary, then the vision isn't going to come. So if you are at this place where you're like, I'm feeling stuck, I'm feeling stuck, I'm feeling stuck, I'm feeling stuck, one of the things that you can do, and what I have found to be one of the most life-giving things for me to do, is to give myself that white space. Have you ever noticed that your best ideas don't necessarily come while you're sitting in front of a computer? Now, sometimes they do come in a meeting. I will say, like, brainstorming can happen with company, like with other people. But again, it's kind of pulling yourself out of the day-to-day task-oriented things. But for me, my best ideas come when I am usually at night, unfortunately. Sometimes when I can't sleep, my best ideas come, or going on a walk or in the shower. Like literally, those are when my best ideas come. And why is it? Is because I'm actually not focused on the problem. I've actually like pulled myself away from it enough to have breather and have space. And so, whatever you can do now, again, it's like, how do we take these things? I had that 6 weeks of white space, and oh my goodness, the ideas that came to my brain, the vision that I have now, the renewed energy, the renewed passion that I have because I had that space. But one of the things I'm going to carry into is literally just doing less in general. Like my schedule doesn't need to be block, 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 block. I am a fan of time blocking, don't get me wrong, and I still time block my schedule, but in that schedule, there needs to be actual space. There needs to be time for me to take a walk. There needs to be not back to back to back to back to back meetings, right? There needs to be time to have space to be creative. So I'd love to know in the comments, is that something you currently have in your business, in your day-to-day? Are you actually taking time just for white space, just to have that creative time? So it's so, so vital. And it's something that I'm going to continue to do. And one of the things that I learned by taking this break is how much I actually need that, right? It's incredible when you actually are intentional about doing less, how much more actually happens. Like it's that backwards mindset of like, I'm going to do less so that I can do more. And man, I believe that now even more than ever. So that was one of the things that I really took away out of this 6 week sabbatical. The second, I will tell you guys, and not everybody agrees with me. That's okay. Feel free to have your own opinions. I think mine are right. I'm just kidding. Everyone thinks their opinions are right? That's why we have opinions. But there's no way this could have happened without a team. 100% not. I am so grateful. Like, can we just give a shout out for a second to the Virtual Savvy team? You guys are interacting with these people day in and day out. Anytime you email in, anytime that you are, replying on social, right now in the chat, the team is hanging out there, right? Like this team stepped up and was so incredible during this time. And again, not everybody I know can hire a team right now. You may be like, Abby, I just started my business. Like, I don't have that capability. But here's what you can do, even now when you're in your business, is this idea of like, I'm in the business of outsourcing, right? Like, do you actually believe in outsourcing? Because you're in the business of outsourcing if you are a virtual assistant or a service provider, right? So if you actually believe in the business, if you believe in the concept of outsourcing, you're going to find a way to do that even in your own business, right? Again, it doesn't mean that you need to go out and hire a subcontractor right now, though some of you maybe do need to do that. But what are some ways that you could begin the idea of outsourcing in your business right now? For instance, maybe you do have a client and they're one or two clients, you're starting to actually make some income in your business and you're like, man, it is probably time that I make a legit website. There has to be a cost analysis, is how much is my time actually worth, right? And if you are not a web designer, if it is going to take you, 4 weeks of like head down, doing so much of the work to create a website that's not even going to be that amazing. You have to be able to self-assess, right? Like, I'm not actually that good at probably building websites if I've never done it before. It might be better for you to hire somebody to create your website, right? Again, maybe you're starting to get a fuller client load and you're like, there's no way what if something happens where I need to take a week off? I get really sick, I get the flu, something like that. Man, it'd be nice to not have this entire burden fall on me, right? It might be time to start thinking about bringing on a subcontractor. We talk a lot about the freedom life here at the Virtual Savvy. And as your business gets bigger, I am a huge fan of bringing other people into it. Number one, how beautiful it is to create jobs for people. I mean, I'm really passionate about that. I love the idea of creating jobs for people that they love, it's one of the things that I really enjoy doing. Like, I want to create a workplace where people like their job, right? Flexible hours, remote work, all of that, right? Like, that's really fun for me. Even if being a boss or a manager scares you, I will say there is just something really powerful about being able to hand off tasks and over time get to where you really trust these people to the point where you can step back some, right? Again, that white space, the ability to step back sometimes is if you're not just doing the day to day. What's going on here? Okay, let's fix that. So huge fan of outsourcing. Other things that you can outsource, guys, even if you're not ready to bring on a subcontractor, you're not ready to bring on a team member, there are tools, okay? So sometimes you're not ready to invest in like an actual person, but you can invest in tools that are going to help you. This could be as simple as signing up for something like Dubsado or Honeybook, right? Like, if you're manually sending invoices and reminders and contracts and doing all that manually, you can set up so many automations inside of tools like Dubsado or Honeybook, where all of that can be automated for you. Again, it's a monthly cost, but it's worth it. It's the same with doing things like, okay, I'm going to upgrade to the pro version of Canva because I'm able to just boom, 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 use their images, use their templates, and it's going to be faster. Sometimes it is worth it to invest a little bit in tools that are going to help you. If you guys have not discovered AI yet, there's so much that you can do. You can outsource to Chat GPT, right? Where I can just have ideas, like, give me 20 ideas for social media posts, boom, and it just gives them to you. And it's like, I did not have to sit and like create those ideas, and now I still have to go and create the content, right? But it giving you that content, or at least giving you a jumping block off of. By the way, we have some cool AI stuff that's going to be coming out soon, which we're going to be sharing with you guys on how to actually use AI as virtual assistants. So super excited. We got a sneak peek of that in Brunch Club the other day with Katie and Chachi. They did an awesome job going through and explaining how you can do that. But man, there are just so many tools right now, you guys, that you can use. And if you don't know, if you're like, man, I wonder if, such a great question. I wonder if there's a better, easier, faster way to do XYZ, right? Ask. That's what our VA community is for you guys to ask, hey, is there a faster way to be doing this social media stuff? Is there a faster way to be scheduling posts? Is there a faster way to be writing blogs? Is there a faster way, right? And sometimes tools can give you, if you're not ready to hire an actual employee, you can outsource to tools that could help you do some of these things as well, okay? So, any questions? As we're going, I have two more things to talk about, just kind of why I took this 6 weeks off, what I learned from it, some of the things that you guys can implement. Go ahead and be dropping your questions in the chat, because at the end of this, we'll do a little Q&A time, okay? So the third thing that really helped, again, just recognizing I was needing white space, implementing that now into my day-to-day. Outsourcing, you can outsource to people, you can outsource to tools, but just getting in the practice of outsourcing, that's something I'm going to continue to carry on. Could not have done this without a team. The third thing is batch. So one of the things in order to prep for these 6 weeks was to batch content. So was to batch some of the work that needed to be done. So essentially we looked ahead and said, all right, these 6 weeks that I'm going to be out, what are we planning to have happen in those 6 weeks? So did I work extra hard before the 6 weeks? Yes, I did. That week before, I literally was like, head down. I am going to just get as much done. Are there any emails I need to be writing? Are there any videos? Like, what do you guys need? Planning meetings, all of that. And then after that, it was like, all right, again, talking about outsourcing, I let my team know you guys have decision-making power while I'm out. But we've pretty much already talked about all these scenarios that could potentially happen. So that was really helpful, just to get as much batched ahead of time. So we did a big batch filming day. I already had all the content planned out, like the emails we were going to send to you guys, and everything was already planned out for the 6 weeks. They actually did an entire launch without me, which was super cool. So you guys experienced that. And it was just really great to be able to do a little bit ahead of time. Have you guys batched anything for yourselves? And there's so many things that you could batch. It could be your content, right? Like, if you do social media for your own business, can you batch that ahead of time? Most of us could be doing 30 days of social media in one really focused day. Do you do blog posts? Again, you can batch those. Do you do video? You can batch those. Do you even client work? I'm a huge fan, if at all possible, of just, man, how much of this could I do in one sit down sitting that's going to last for the whole month? Batching is something that I will continue to do. As far as, we do YouTube. And so we usually do our YouTube content. Like we do 2 days of filming and that lasts an entire quarter, right? So 3 months of content in 2 days. And we just batch, film, and it's exhausting, but then it's over and it's so nice. So anything that you guys, I'd love to hear in the comments too, like things that you think that you could potentially go ahead and start batching in your business. Awesome. Oh, cool. I was just going over to the chat. Satasha, want to make sure I said that right. Satasha says, my big win, I finally embraced Dubsado. Yay. That's exciting. So good. I didn't even know you were on a CEO sabbatical. Great job, Team Savvy. That's the real winner, right? Like if you guys didn't even know I was gone, we kind of did that intentionally. I love that. Yep, I could be batching my social content for sure. Huge fan of batching. Huge fan of it. Okay, last one, and then we'll do some Q&As. Again, if you guys have questions, go ahead and be dropping them below. The last thing is just that I learned around this time, and even that I had to do before I took the 6-week sabbatical, was really getting good at setting boundaries. And so one of the things that I did was, that boundary when I left of basically like, I'm totally out. So like deleted Slack from my phone, deleted email, deleted ClickUp, like completely left. Now, my COO still had my phone. So if something was needed, like there was one day that she needed a form signed that like for taxes or whatever had to be signed like that day. So she's like, hey, I sent a form to your personal email. Boom, went in and signed it. But pretty much other than that, she didn't have to reach out to me at all. So part of that, again, and this was something that happened over time. This is not going to happen when you first bring on a subcontractor or an employee, right? But I did, have to allow my team that decision-making power. And that's something that over time, if somebody's been working with you 3 months, 6 months, and you're really seeing, man, they're doing really great work, you can start slowly giving them more and more decision-making power. Melissa, my COO, has been working with me since 2018, I think. So much. I'm just like, literally, you already make a lot of the decisions in the business anyway. So it was very easy for me to be like, yes, decision-making power, here you go. And so that was a really big thing for me, was setting that boundary ahead of time of like, I'm not going to, I'm going to let this time be really purposeful. And again, those kind of boundaries are things that I am continuing to do even after the 6-week sabbatical. So something that I've personally done is I have pretty much turned off all notifications on my phone. So like, I don't get notifications about Facebook messages. I don't get notifications. And this is still, I did this even before the sabbatical, because man, your phone can just be constantly ping, right? And like, I'm not about that life. Like when I'm working, I'm working. When I'm not working, I am having fun and I am not working, right? So I think it's this really important boundary to have. And so I have turned off pretty much all notifications on my phone, other than like text messages and phone calls. That's all I get. And I don't even always respond to text messages, if you know me very well. That's something I actually probably need to be better at. But so yeah, having that really clear boundary. Another thing is, again, with my schedule, I'm being really strict about like, man, I am, not working on Fridays. That is something that my team has done for a while, but I still have really worked a lot on Fridays, and I'm wanting to be more strict with that, where I'm like, no, Fridays is going to be a personal day. That's where I'm going to run errands, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to, have lunch with a friend or something. And so getting more strict around just like, when are my white space times, right? When am I working and not working, and being more strict about that, because those boundary lines really do help you to live a more free life, that freedom life, that the boundaries to allow you to have space to enjoy your business. So that was really good. And again, that's something that you can go ahead and do now, right? And I'd love to hear in the comments any boundaries that you've already placed in your business of things that you're like, these are like, I do not work past this time. Like for me, I cannot work at night. Oh my gosh, because I have a tendency, my brain just keeps going. Like, so if I start working in the evenings, I will not sleep. It will be 3 or 4 in the morning and I'm still awake because my brain just doesn't shut off. So I literally like past 4 o'clock, sometimes 5 o'clock, but not very often. It is off for me. Like my brain is off. I do not think about work. I do not think about business. I can't even watch Shark Tank because my brain will just be like idea, 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 idea. Don't read any marketing emails. Don't read any sales pages. Like I don't do marketing past 5 o'clock for me because my brain just won't shut off. So that's a big one, another boundary that I've placed. So I'd love to hear any boundaries that you guys have in your business. So yeah, this is, not only what helped me to create this ability to take time off, but things that I'm going to continue to carry on even now that these 6 weeks are over. So, what did I do during the 6 weeks? Honestly, I focused on me. I focused on my relationships, my family. I just had space, which was awesome. Space just to talk. My husband and I went out to Colorado. Had an awesome time on there, just focusing on our marriage. I personally just enjoyed my time. I went hiking with my kids. I, just had fun and unplugged. So again, something that I'm going to continue to do. I'm a big fan of vacations, so we'll be planning a couple smaller trips, probably even this year, just to be able to unplug at times because it is really, really important. So, what questions do you have for me? I'd love to know in the chat. Questions about the sabbatical, questions about how you can, establish some of these boundaries in your own business, questions just about starting a VA business in general. I am here to chat with you guys, whatever questions you have. And while you're dropping your questions in the comments, I do also want to note, if you didn't catch when we first started, we do have a live training series coming up next week. It's 3 days, and we're going to be talking about how to scale your business to 6 figures. So if you're wanting some of the things that we were talking about today, that freedom life, the ability to like unplug from your business and still make money, that's what we're going to be talking about, is some of the practical how-tos, how to create a high-end offer, how to create an offer that people will pay good money for, right? How to actually build a team and begin outsourcing, how to have your internal systems run in a way that is predictable, how to start doing forecasting and metrics in your business. We're going to be talking about all of that in the 3 day series next week. So you will want to be there. It's totally free. So make sure you sign up for that. Awesome. Let's see. Any questions, you guys? Anything that you want to chat about? Oh, Jennifer lives in Colorado too. We were in Denver. It was beautiful. It was so funny. 1 week in Denver, it was 80 degrees one day and then snowed 4 inches like 3 days later. I was like, what is happening here? It's beautiful, but I was like a little taken back from it. Let's see. Here's a good question. What's the best way to outsource? I find good help. It's been hard for me. And where do you look for help? So, couple of questions, a couple of things here. One, I mean, you can definitely post in our VA Savvies community. That is always an option for you to find a subcontractor. And I think that's a good first place to start. One of the things that we do, if you have an email list, we always email our email list too, because again, these are the people who know, like, trust you, follow you. But most of you guys, if you're just hiring your first subcontractor, probably don't have an email list, and that's totally fine. So here's what I would suggest. So when I was scaling my VA business back 2015, 2016, I'm starting to get more clients, realizing I was actually pregnant at the time, right? I was like real pregnant when my business started picking up, and I'm like, I'm about to have a baby and I have all these clients who are relying on me. So I had to learn how to outsource really, really quickly. And so where I actually looked was some of my Facebook communities, friends I had made, right, in the VA space. But also, I honestly looked to just a lot of my own personal connections. So, for instance, I, thought back to my college friends, people who I knew were like currently stay-at-home moms who had talent, and who were like who would jump at the opportunity to make money working from home, flexible schedule, who I knew had talent, who I could, test with a few little projects, never making any like commitment. Hey, I'm going to hire you for 6 months or you're guaranteed this many hours. No, like, hey, would you want to try this out? Like, let's try a couple weeks. Like, I know that in college you would do the graphics for such and such band. Like, would you want to do these social media posts? I could teach you how to do it. I did a little mini training, have them do it. And what was so cool about it is that it's not a person that wanted to build their own business. And that's one of the things, when you're hiring subcontractors, I think there is benefit to people who know the VA space, especially if you're needing somebody who is really, really trained in something particular, right? Like, I want somebody, I run a Facebook ads agency and I need subcontractors to help me run Facebook ads. Okay, you may want somebody who already has some training and talent and things like that. But the thing is, if somebody's looking to grow their own business, most of them, as they get better, they're going to get more clients and eventually they're going to leave. And that turnover can be difficult for your business, right? To have to train more people, train more people, train more people. So, what I have found is that subcontracting to people who aren't necessarily trying to build their own business, or who aren't trying to build a big business, just want good, reliable work, right? So, like, I have outsourced, like, writing tasks to my sister at times. My sister is an excellent writer. She has her own business, but she really isn't looking to grow it like massive, at least right at the moment. She was homeschooling. She was helping her daughter with college applications for the past year. So her daughter does like theater. And so really, really busy. And so not looking to like, I want to grow this, massive agency. She's just like, man, some work on the side would be great. And I know that she's skilled and reliable. And so every once in a while we'll like throw a blog post her way, like, hey, could you write this for us? And so there's people like that, I feel like are some of the best contractors that I have had personally. It's just kind of utilizing those personal connections. Again, if you don't have those, then just throwing it out on Facebook. Like, maybe you don't have a connection, but a friend would have a friend who would jump at the opportunity. So that is my personal favorite place to look. Of course, you can always go to sites like, Upwork or Fiverr or whatever. Those are options. Those are not always my favorite places. I haven't found, which is why at some point we're going to still have a freelancer community. We will be bringing that back. Hello Savvy will be coming back in the future, but it's not quite ready yet. So 2024ish, I'm hoping we'll be bringing that back. Let's see here. What other questions? Can you give another summary of your pregnancy time off refresher as it relates to time off? So yeah, definitely. I started my business when I was like 6 months pregnant with my second child. So with Jones, my little boy, he's 7 now. So I started the business in 2015 when I was pregnant with him. And again, the business grew really, really fast. And so I'll be totally honest, I didn't have everything set up perfectly. Like, if I were to go back, I would do it a little different, but I didn't know what I didn't know. And so I think it helped that it was my second child because if I would have started a business with my first child, oh my gosh, like those first 6 weeks after having my first baby, I needed like those full 6 weeks. And I couldn't have done anything else. Like, I was a mess. My second kid, I was like, oh yeah, we're good, And so, probably a week after my kid was born, I wasn't doing a ton of work, but I was still checking in. I did not completely check out. But I think that it's totally possible, especially now knowing what I know. And I know that there are many people in our community who have taken actual legit, like, 6 week, 8 week, whatever, 12-week maternity leaves from their business. And again, it's using the same things that we talked about here. So having a team, having systems, having processes, having checkpoints, potentially if needed, to make sure that things are running smoothly. But for me, I hired enough contractors. I basically just communicated with my clients, hey, I'm having a baby. Spoiler alert, my son came 6 weeks early also. So I was not fully ready. Like, I was planning to be more ready, but I basically sent from my hospital bed, like, an email to all my clients being like, baby came early. Like, they all knew I was pregnant. And so I'll be out for, a week or so, won't be able to respond to emails. And then when I got back, I was kind of back into it. But I did have subcontractors doing most of the actual work for me. So I was still checking things and communicating with my clients, but all the work was being done by subcontractors at that point. So again, if I were to go back and do it differently, I would have had more time off. But thankfully, my second child was not too difficult. So, if you have more specific questions, I'm happy to answer those. Will the workshop work if you aren't specifically doing VA work? Yes, actually, great question. So this is totally applicable for any type of service provider. Okay, so if you are building websites or doing, social media, or if you're an ops person, 100% this still works for you. You do not have to have the title VA in order for the methods that we're going to be talking about next week to work for you. Great, great question. How would you go on vacation when you don't have a team? You just tell your clients, good luck, see you in a week. Good question, Jennifer. So we actually in the Savvy system have a whole lesson on like how to take vacation as a VA. Again, I do like the idea if you could bring in a subcontractor, even for the week. I think that is a cool idea, but you don't have to. So what I would do if I didn't have a team and I was taking a vacation and I really wanted to try to be unplugged is I would let my clients know ahead of time, right? So communication is the biggest thing. Like, hey, just a heads up, I plan to be off this day to this day. I won't be responding to emails, blah, 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 blah. So communication up front. If they have hired you for a certain amount of hours, you do need to like honor those hours. So either like I'm not charging you for that week, or you hire me for 10 hours a week. I'll be doing 5 extra hours the week before, 5 extra hours the week after. That would be one way to do it as well. So it's basically just going through and communicating with your clients and making sure that that time is made up some way, right? Again, for some of you guys, you don't do hourly work. Some of you are just doing like project-based work. So it's just making sure, like, again, communication. Here are the deliverables. Here's how I plan to exceed your expectations, even before I leave. So it might be doing a little bit of extra work before you leave in order so that you could take that time off. So the work still needs to be done. So it either has to be done by you beforehand, after the fact, which I'm more of a fan of trying to get it done beforehand, so as much prep time as you can do, or being done by a subcontractor, I think are the options. And then, again, setting those clear boundaries, putting up a autoresponder on your email. If there's an absolute emergency, you could potentially bring in another VA to say like, hey, could you be an emergency contact while I'm out? But even that, most of your clients are fine. They're going to be okay for you to take 1 week out. Yeah, just like Emily was saying, batch and work ahead. If you're able to bring us some contractor for those times, that works really, really well as well. Great questions. Yeah, that's Kayla. That's how I got my start as a VA. Started subcontracting for a friend of a friend. Yes, so good. All right, you guys, that is all I have for today. I hope that you enjoyed this live stream. Again, we go live every single Tuesday inside of this group, and over on our YouTube channel. We're going live every single week. So make sure that you join us every Tuesday at noon Central Time. Any questions that you have, go ahead and drop them below. My team and I we're in here. We're answering questions. You can tag us in the Savvies group. Ask your questions because we love to help support you in your business. And don't forget to sign up for our 6-Figure VA series, which starts next week. All right, guys, that's it for today. I'll talk to you soon.